What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of the Get It Right Saturday Night Podcast. I'm your host, Mark Francis, here with my fellow co-host, Oscar Morale.
Hey guys, how you doing?
And we got Colin Fursley.
What is going on?
Colin Fursley is currently thugging it out in the middle of Hurricane Milton, while Oscar and I are not thugging it out, and we are not anywhere near it. So props to Colin for being the man of the relationship. But let's get right into it. What do we got on the ballot today, Colin?
Okay. Well, we got a lot of things on the ballot, actually. I think this might be our most diverse episode.
Oh, diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Oh my
That's
God.
what we love to have
Sorry.
here on the
This-
Get It Right Saturday Night Podcast.
Exactly, of course. We have a vlog that will have dropped already when you guys see this, and then we have this great video that you guys will watch. So let's get it started off. We're gonna start in the world of hockey, actually. So the NHL season
Holy.
started not yesterday. What day? Tuesday. The season started on Tuesday. There was a triple header, and the second game was the Panthers playing the Bruins. And what did they do in that game? Before the game, they raised the championship banner. So
Yes.
it was great to watch. It was it was very exciting to see. There was people crying in the stands, which it was a very emotional time for some people. See all the players with their arms wrapped around each other. It was a great time to celebrate our championship for the last time. You can see also here the Stanley Cup is sitting in the background. So it
Oh
was just a
yeah.
great experience. And then, to top it all off, during the game, we absolutely obliterated the Bruins. So that was
Yeah.
also very fun to see. We won 6-4. A couple goals from Sam Bennett. I believe Reinhardt had one as well, and he signed an extension worth $7 million a year for the next 8 years. So I know, Mark, that's your favorite player. Shout
Yes,
out.
sir.
Oh wait, sorry, not Reinhardt. I meant
Not
Verhaeghe.
Reinhardt. Verhaeghe. I
My
love
bad.
Verhaeghe.
It was Verhaeghe. So
Yep, Carter Verhaeghe, 8-year contract, baby. Let's go.
yes, sir. So very exciting to have him for 8 more years. And then the score was 4-6, but it was 4-2 until they scored two garbage time goals at the end of the third period. So we were dominating for the entire game. The only thing that bad about the game was that we had like 50 million power plays and we didn't score on any of them. So that was a little like, come on,
What's
we
new?
got to improve upon that.
What's new?
But yeah, what's new? That's true. But nonetheless, it was a great game, and hopefully we can continue this going further throughout the season. So I just wanted to touch on that real quick, and then also moving on, just something to touch on as well. MLB postseason is in full swing, and
Yes, it is.
the divisional series will probably be over by the time this video gets posted. But as of right now, as you can see, the Tigers are up 2-1, surprising. The Padres are up 2-1, surprising to some.
Surprising.
The Mets are up to 2-1, surprising. Not only are the Mets up 2-1, they're currently leading 4-1 in the bottom of the seventh of Game 4. So
Yep.
that game,
Lindor,
obviously,
big grand slam into 6.
Yeah,
absolutely. So
yesterday it was crazy.
yeah, it's well, yesterday was crazy, and then this is going on today. So this series
Oh, yeah.
is going crazy. I mean, the Mets are on such a roll right now. I don't think they've had like a day off. Maybe they've had one day off in the last 20 games they played going back into the regular season. And like they look like the Miracle Mets. Like it's
Yeah.
insane
The
how good
Miracle
they're doing.
Mets.
It is insane.
Unreal. So that's what's going on now. I'm sure the Mets are probably going to win the series. So I picked the Astros. They got out in the first round. Then I picked the Phillies. And they're probably going to get out in the second round. So don't listen to whatever I say in terms of predictions. But
Yep.
yeah, I mean, this is wild. I mean, Phillies were a lot of people's predictions. I think it was some of yours as well.
It was my prediction, actually.
But
I
I
had
had
Yeah.
I had the
I had San
I had the
Diego,
Phillies,
and
yeah.
they're doing pretty good. So
Yeah.
I had the
Yeah,
Phillies
so-
going to the World Series against Baltimore, and Baltimore got swept, and now Philly's probably gonna lose too.
Yeah. It's unreal. And then obviously Padres. I mean, did you guys see GIRSN Profar's robbery of Mookie Betts?
That was
very
insane,
cool.
insane play.
Yep. And then so also currently what's happening right now is the Yankees are playing the Royals in game 3 of that series. It's currently the bottom of the third, scores 0-0, so you guys will see what happens there. And then Detroit, man, is on a roll. Holy
Oh
cow.
yeah,
I don't know how this is happening, but Detroit somehow they're up 2-1, only one game away from taking the series because the divisional series is best out of 5. So they only need to win. So all these teams up 2-1, they only need to win one more game
One more
and they win
time.
the series.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that, and that'll be a very interesting matchup. And the Mets are on fire, which sucks to see because they're my least favorite team in the entire league, in my personal opinion. So I don't want them to do well, but they're doing well. So yeah, I don't know if you guys have anything to say.
Yeah, I was so
Baseball.
actually my flight back from Orlando flying back to Denver, I was seated next to a gentleman who's probably the biggest Padres fan I've ever seen. I mean, this guy was decked out in just pure yellow and brown and pure Padres gear, and he had the game up and he bought Wi-Fi on the plane, so he can watch the game. And I mean, the fan base that San Diego has, and I saw the game yesterday as well. I saw the last 2 innings. Man, that fan base is insane. Like when they say like home court advantage, my God, the San Diego have an advantage. It is insane. Tatis is playing out of his mind. But also, I think it's so interesting how toxic the Dodgers and the Padres have been to each other. The fans have just been
Yeah,
so toxic to each other, throwing stuff at players.
I mean,
Um,
yeah, it's a
it's
baseball town out there in San Diego, that's for sure.
it's crazy. It really, really is. And this is it's just been a awesome, awesome divisional series between all these teams, and I really look forward to see who makes it to the NLCS and ALCS. And I guess the World Series is gonna be another crazy, unpredictable thing, like how we had Rangers and Diamondbacks last year. Let's see what happens this year.
hmm
Who
yep,
knows?
that's true. That is true. And the crazy thing about baseball is the game changes so fast. Like it's not like football where, you're up by, 3 touchdowns and you can't take the lead immediately because you have to have 3 drives. You have to play defense, get the ball back.
Well,
Like it
Colin,
progresses slowly.
it's like that if you're hitting a grand slam, but usually
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
it's still
That's my point. Like all of these
When
games are changing so fast. The Mets have hit 3 grand slams in the past 2 games. Like it's ridiculous.
well,
And
when you
and
have Francisco Lindor, you can expect a grand slam at least once a week because
of
that man is
course,
a
oh my
absolute
God.
dog.
yeah, I know it's ridiculous. And specifically with the Mets, I mean, that's my point. Like they've been down almost in every single game, and they just hit one home run, and the game's flipped. So
Turns it right
it's
around.
yeah, it's unreal. A baseball postseason is definitely at the top of all the postseasons of every
Oh, for
sport,
sure.
in my opinion.
For
Uh,
for sure.
yeah. So I mean, there's a reason why no one watches the regular season and everyone watches the postseason. It's unreal.
Yeah.
Um,
Unreal atmosphere, unreal games, unreal everything, honestly.
yeah, that is for sure. All right. Well, there's nothing else to add. In the baseball world,
For
we'll
now.
keep monitoring the
Yeah.
games as they yeah, we'll keep monitoring the games as they go on, and who knows, maybe the Phillies will come back. I mean, bottom 7 right, and the 7th inning just ended, and they're still down 3. You never know. But moving right along into
Wait.
college
What were our World
footy.
Series
Oh, yeah,
predictions?
go ahead.
What were our World Series predictions?
I said Phillies. I had Phillies.
On both sides. No, on both sides. Like World Series
Oh, I
predictions.
never.
You never
I
picked
never
somebody
made
out of
that
the
prediction.
AL? You never picked somebody out of the
No,
American League? And Mark, what was your
I did
prediction?
not.
I had Baltimore and Philly, and both are about to be out, so.
Yeah, I had San Diego and the Yankees, but we'll
It's
see.
still possible.
Yeah, we'll see.
Still
I don't think
possible.
so. I mean, if the Mets keep playing like this, I don't think San Diego can deal with them. But
Yeah.
I guess we gotta
Well,
wait and
you
see.
never
That's
know.
gonna be interesting.
Yep. That is
now,
definitely for
onto
sure.
a very exciting aspect of the pod here today.
Oh, yeah.
College football
Absolutely.
was a doozy last week.
Yeah, that is definitely for sure. Just looking plainly at the standings, some things to point out. Texas is back on top. SMU cracked the top 25. Really interesting there in their debut season in the ACC. And then also, I never knew that this was a thing that you can have tied, like the rankings are tied. I never knew that was possible.
I think
Yeah.
it applies only outside of the top 10. I think I read that somewhere.
Well, I think it's based off of the points. So the AP voters give
exactly.
points. And so like there you can see here like Iowa State and Notre Dame both have 853, Indiana, Oklahoma, and K-State. So that's how it works, but I've never seen that happen before. So that's interesting. I don't know.
It's really
Um,
interesting, honestly.
Anyway, so obviously last week was absolutely insane. Missouri dropped 12 spots. Alabama dropped 6. They should have dropped more than 6 spots, but I guess we'll start with the the insane amount of upsets that occurred. So first off, let's just start it off with a heater. I don't think we'll ever see this again in our lifetime. I'm not gonna lie. Alabama lost to Vanderbilt. Please explain to me how you beat Georgia and look like the best team of all time, and then the next week
Whoa,
you
whoa,
go
whoa!
and
Not
play
the best team of
Vanderbilt.
all time, but the best team
Bro,
in the
they
nation
looked
for sure.
they looked real good.
No, I know.
And then
They look like the
Vanderbilt
best
happens.
team in the SEC.
No, they look like the best team in the last few years in that one game specifically. That's for sure. And then Vanderbilt happens. Like, what? Vanderbilt. Like what?
Well,
And then
Vandy, baby.
I love how this Diego Pavia guy like started acting like he was
Pavia?
the best player of
Yeah.
all time.
Diego
Sure.
Pavia. Yeah.
I don't even know. Who he
Bro,
is.
I'm sorry. If I beat
So-
Bama, I'm gonna act like the greatest player of all time. I do
Now,
not care, bro. My ego will inflate like a whoopee cushion when I'm trying to prank my teacher, bro.
To
All
shed
the way up.
to shed some light on Vanderbilt here, nobody expected them to beat Alabama. However, I think this is definitely a wake-up call to the entire college football scene for everybody. Because Vanderbilt this year is not bad, and up until this point,
True.
they have been labeled as bad, and I don't understand why. They went into an insane overtime thriller with Missouri, who was ranked top 10 at the time, and I think that game speaks more about to how bad Missouri is rather than how good Vanderbilt is, because Vanderbilt I think was already good, and I think people were saying in that game that Missouri almost lost it. No, I think Vanderbilt almost won it. I think Vanderbilt was more control of that game than Missouri. They just weren't able to cross the finish line like they were here with Alabama. And even going back to like the Virginia Tech game, which they beat Virginia Tech, and we saw how good Virginia Tech's been playing the last few weeks. They've beat now a good team. Everybody thought after that Vanderbilt win over Virginia Tech, So Vanderbilt has been a really good team this season thus far, and people have not been throwing them the credit they deserve. And I just wanted to take a moment to say that, because they've completely redone how they run their offense, and it's been killing all of these good teams like Missouri and Alabama. And their time of possession, the way they are able to manage that time of possession and keep control of the ball without giving it away, is truly very skillful, because it's super risky. Because if you're not able to convert on your third down, you could throw that strategy away. But that team is very well coached and has a really good scheme, especially running the ball, taking down that time and converting on those third downs. And any good team should be scared to play Vanderbilt, because not only are they pushing this new way of playing that is very effective against these good teams. We saw it happen multiple times this weekend. Arkansas did a very similar tactic against they beat Tennessee, right? Yeah, it was Arkansas did a very similar tactic against Tennessee, and we're seeing that Vanderbilt is not being like the innovators per se, but they're giving a blueprint to these smaller teams on how to beat these much better teams by having time of possession and keeping control of the ball for as long as possible, which I think is going to be very interesting to see how the rest of the season now unfolds, as these bigger, better teams who should be winning have to adapt to this play style that they'll certainly see time and time again going up against smaller opponents.
Yeah. No, that was very well put.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see here with these team stats, Vanderbilt had the ball for 42 minutes. That's actually insane. And third down, they were 12 for 18, which is ridiculous. They definitely should be getting attention, like you said, and they should be getting the credit that they deserve. The only thing is like the reason why they haven't is because they have historically been the
Terrible.
absolute worst
absolutely
team
awful
in the SEC for like the last 30 years. So like that's why it started off that way. But Vanderbilt this season, like you mentioned, like they lost to Georgia State, which is bad. Like that's really bad. But like you said, Virginia Tech last week they almost beat Missouri. Now obviously like the greatest college football program of all time, like and Alabama, like it's unreal what they've done there. And this game like proves it. So great for Vanderbilt. And let's see how Alabama rebounds. I think that'll be pretty interesting.
And another thing
Yeah.
to point out is how effective they're rushing the ball and how effectively on defense, although they don't have their defense is not as good as their offense, and their defense it really is their offense because of time of possession. But the one thing they are doing really good on defense is forcing teams to pass the ball, and saying you're not going to beat us by running the ball and having the ball. And we all know any great offense, to have a great offense, you need to have a good running game, and that opens up your offense. And so they're limiting that for other teams. And I think that, I mean, they're in the zone right now. And if they can keep this momentum going, I think it's going to be really cool to see what they can do against some other SEC teams.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. So other upsets, like you mentioned before, Arkansas beat Tennessee, which is unreal.
Yeah,
And
it's
then
insane.
Missouri lost to Texas A&M, which is a big upset, but not a crazy surprise considering that they struggled against, like you mentioned, Vanderbilt last week. And then I believe the week before that they almost lost to another team. I'm forgetting who it is now, but
Don't remember.
I can check. But yeah, Missouri has been
It might have been
tanking.
Boise State. Who was the really good team Boise State played and lost to?
I don't remember. Let me see. I have it opened right here. They almost lost to Boston College. That's right. So
That's what it was.
not great teams. That they've, like the last 3 games have been really bad, and now like it finally has caught up with them, and then they lose to Texas A&M. Now Texas A&M isn't bad, but
No,
I mean,
absolutely
they're
not.
15.
I
was-
think
But-
they're a better team. Texas A&M.
well, yeah,
Their
yeah.
only loss is to LSU.
Notre
if
Dame.
I'm not-
Notre Dame.
No,
was
you're
the
right. It was
first team
Notre
of the
Dame
season.
on opening week on College Game Day.
Yep.
You're
Yeah.
completely right. So and
So-
Notre Dame is a really good team this year. So
That's true. I mean, Texas A&M is better than Missouri, obviously. But before this game, they were not viewed as such, and the fact that not only did they win, but they won 41-10 was the big surprise.
I don't
there.
understand why
Insane.
they weren't viewed as a better team when they played better, in my opinion, better teams and won. And the only loss they have is to an
It's
an
because they
extraordinarily
lost
good team.
they lost to Notre Dame, who hasn't been playing well lately, especially when they lose to Northern Illinois, and Missouri was undefeated. So I get why their rankings were the way they were. But
Yeah.
obviously with Missouri's performances in the last few weeks, I mean, yeah, obviously Missouri's not that good anymore. And
I
then
think
Michigan.
it's also. Oh
yeah,
yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
No,
No,
I,
you
I
go.
was I was also gonna mention. I think it's important that how Miami almost did get upset by Cal.
Okay, well,
Well,
we'll get
to
there.
that.
We'll get there.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, so I just wanted to mention Michigan first because they're on the top, like they're right underneath Missouri. So Michigan lost to Washington, rematch of the national championship game last season. And Washington is not that good anymore. A lot of their recruits left when Kalen DeBoer went to Alabama, and so the fact that they played Michigan very, very well and they won is very
Wow.
very interesting. And
Now
then
Michigan drops to 2 losses.
I
Yeah.
think Michigan
Two
just
losses.
didn't go into that game with the right mentality, and it got out of hand early for them, and then they were never able to recover. And I don't understand why, especially when you just beat these boys in a national championship less than a year ago, and you're going into their house,
mhm.
and they're gonna want to defend their name and their school for what happened a few months ago. You can't go into that game thinking you're gonna win. You have to go into that game proving and showing to them again why it is that you won the Natty, even though a lot of the roster may not be the same. But it's at that point it's for the rivalry. It's for school pride. You got to play for the M on your badge. I mean, I'm not a Michigan fan. I don't care. But I mean,
Hmm.
if I was a fan of Michigan, I would personally feel a little let down with how just the body language of the players in that game and how they were performing, because I don't think they went into that game just really mentally prepared. Like I think they genuinely went in thinking, you know, I'm gonna win this. Like we're gonna win this game because of what you said, Colin. A lot of their great talents left. So, and I think the same thing happened with the Alabama game. Absolutely. But still, I think Michigan had a more
Yeah.
winnable game than Alabama did against Vanderbilt, and they threw it. So that's really sad to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And then another team that dropped out of the top 25 was USC. They went from 11 to completely out after they lost to Minnesota on a game-winning touchdown run that occurred with 56 seconds left in the game. They lost 24 to 17. Minnesota is not even that good. So the
No,
fact that they lost is just another surprising upset of the week. So I don't even, how many was that? One, two, three, four, five upsets in the
There were
top 11,
so
I
many
believe it
upsets this
was.
week.
And
There were
then there was
so many.
almost,
there was.
like
It's
Mark
five. It was
starting to
five
mention,
in the top 11.
yeah. So, and then, like Mark mentioned, there was almost a
Minnesota.
sixth one with Minnesota. There was also a sixth one
Minnesota.
with Miami playing Cal. That came down to the wire. They won only by 1 point, 39 to 38. And Cam Ward was able to pull it out. They were down by a gazillion amount of points, and they came all the
24
way back.
points.
Now I'm gonna let
25,
Oscar
25, 25.
start. I'm gonna let Oscar start because I have some feelings on this game that I know he's gonna disagree with me about. But Oscar, go ahead and tell me how great Cam Ward was.
I'll pitch in on that too,
Well,
Colin.
I don't think anybody can say that he wasn't great. I mean, if anything, he's the only reason we won that game. Let's keep it frank. I like to be, for the most part, as much as I can be, a fair and biased analysis to give you a fair and biased analysis of the game. However, what I will say, and I will pull up receipts from the chat, is that I did think after all the upsets that were going on now, if you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, this game started at 10:30 p.m. Eastern time because it was being played in California, and ended at 2:30 a.m. The following day out here in the East where we're all situated except for Mark. And when we saw all these upsets, I put it in the chat. I said, boys, we're about to be top 5, referring to the University of Miami. And I was slightly off on that. I think if we would have won by a much more convincing fashion, we definitely would
Yeah,
have been.
definitely.
For sure.
But I will say this: Colin is a very big doubter, and he sent me this at 2:37 a.m. I don't know if you guys can see, but it says I said we're gonna be top 5, and then Colin says that's a funny joke, Oscar, and with full confidence in Cam Ward and my team being able to pull through. Even they weren't even down by 25 at that point, so they actually went down even further. But I had full confidence in my team, and I said we're more than chilling. And in the end, I was right, as I like to be and I try to be all the time. Um,
Except Oscar's upset alert last week.
right. We'll get to that
Yeah.
too. um, and I have some words on that as well. But in all honesty, UM is playing with fire. They've had 2 games in a row now where they have almost let the win slip from them, especially this Cal game. The Virginia Tech game was more of a back and forth affair. This Cal game, we got obliterated early on, and thank the heavens and Cam Ward that we were able to come back to this game. It just speaks to his confidence, his leadership, and the mentality he instills on the offensive side of the ball. And I think Cristobal is going to definitely use this bye week we have now before we head into Louisville. We're still a good team, even though I don't think they're ranked anymore because of the loss they suffered this week to Notre Dame. But they are still
SMU. I think it was SMU.
Are you sure it was SMU?
I thought so. I think that's why SMU's in number 25 now. Unless
Okay, I think you
I
might
could
be
be
right.
mistaken.
Yeah, I think you're right. But what's it called? We have to get the defense sorted because I mean, as a fan, these are like exciting games that you're gonna recall and refer to, for a long time. But this is not something you want to live by. This is not the standard you want to live by, clawing yourself back into games week in and week out. And because that's not going to work in the postseason. It's just not. Because especially if they have goals of winning at least a game in the college football playoff, they have to get this defense sorted and going, because our offense is clicking perfectly fine. I think we're actually ranked the number one offense in all of college football. I think that statement was released earlier today, if I'm not mistaken, or yesterday. So yeah, Cristobal, take the bye week, get your defense sorted. Thank all the gods that you have to, Jesus Christ. Send a prayer his way, because wow, we survived somehow. And I'll let Colin analyze what should have. I know what you're gonna say, so.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
take the floor, Colin.
So thank you, Oscar. I appreciate that. So okay. Played, like, their comeback was very impressive. I'm not taking that away from them. Like, their defense stood up. California couldn't move the ball at all, and Cam Ward just moved down the field like they came back. It was ridiculous. But this wouldn't have happened if, like, the refs didn't, like, just go with whatever did. It was like, here, Cam Ward, here's another one. Here go 2 more for y'all. Like, the refs are just like, oh, flag? Oh, here you go. Like, oh, here. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, they're like the Kansas City Chiefs. Like, the refs just do whatever they want. Last week, it was Virginia Tech. I'm not talking about the Hail Mary. I'm talking about the 50 flags that went towards UM's way before the Hail Mary, okay? The Hail Mary should never have happened anyway. Virginia Tech should have won, okay? And now this week, so when the guy leads with his head and almost knocks out the quarterback, actually, he did almost have a concussion. Let's just, like, not call targeting on that, even after we review it. So the targeting call is what I want to focus on. Fernando Mendoza, Cal's quarterback, had the ball. It was 3rd down and 7, 8, something like that. He runs up the middle to try and pick up the first down.
Graduate, by the way.
Columbus alum.
And his dad is very good friends. I believe he was his teammate with Cristobal back in the day in Columbus or at UM, but I believe it was in Columbus. They were teammates. His father with Coach Cristobal. So that's cool to know. Cool little fun fact.
Family ties.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yep. So anyway, Mendoza runs the ball. He starts to slide. He's going to be short of the first down. I should have said this before. So they were winning by like 5 points, I believe it was, or 6 points, 5 points.
6 points.
6 points. And if they get the first down, then they need one more first down, and then they win the game, because UM still had all 3 of their timeouts left. There was under 2 minutes to go, so they needed 2 more first downs to win the game, basically. So on 3rd down, he runs up the middle, slides. He's short. Then Cal's going to have to punt, and then UM could get the ball back with the possibility of scoring, which they ended up scoring. But when he slid, the most obvious targeting call I've ever seen in my entire life, head first, crown of the helmet, straight into Mendoza's shoulder. Thank God it wasn't his head; it was his shoulder. But he was shaken up. He had to come out of the game for a little bit. And
honestly, I thought he was gonna have to go out of the game entirely. So I'm very glad that he was able to come back into the game. I was very happy to see him back in the game once I did, because I legitimately thought, I was like, oh my God, like, poor California Golden Bears, because they have a really good, solid team, and I think he's doing great things over there. And I would have been honestly a little sad to see him go, because I think they got a real good. They can do some real special things in the next few weeks in the ACC.
Yeah, that's true. So we're glad he's good, but the point with my story is that if they make the call, they called it initially, but then you have to review it, obviously. So if targeting is upheld, they get the first down. Now they need 10 more yards to win the game. Like, the odds of that happening were pretty good, considering that the rest of the drive beforehand, they were moving on that drive. And regardless, even if they didn't get the first down, they would have kicked the field goal to go up anyway. So, like, they were, so the odds of them winning were pretty much, like, very good, like north of 85-90%. So they go to review the call, which is so obvious. I think Oscar would even admit how obvious it was.
I personally think that it should have been called a targeting, but I'll get to my counter argument to what you're saying when you finish.
Yeah.
But if you want to know what my 2 cents on that call specifically is, Yeah, I think it probably should have been called targeting.
Okay, yeah. So, I think it was targeting. The announcers on the game also thought it was as well. And then the refs like, oh yeah, like that's not targeting. So you guys are gonna have to punt the ball back to Cam Ward, who just dropped like 20 points in the last 3 drives anyway. Like,
And
what do
on
you
his
think is gonna
first
happen?
throw, he threw a 70-yard
Yeah, I told Mark.
throw.
Mark was there. We were sitting in Christian Topchi's apartment watching the game, and I
I was
told Mark
there.
this. The second the refs were like, no penalty, I told Mark, oh, the game's over. UM won. Before UM even got the ball back,
Yeah.
before Cal even punted, I told Mark the game's over. And oh,
Yeah.
what happens? Oh, Cam Ward. What the frick is this stupid celebration? It's the dumbest celebration of all time. Okay, it's so stupid. It's so cringy. Like,
Wait,
what the
Colin,
heck
do
is
it,
that?
do it, do it. Colin, do it, do it.
I'm not doing
No,
that
you gotta do
anymore.
it. No, you gotta do it.
I
How'd you do it?
can't.
How'd you
You gotta do it, 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 do it.
It's
Do
so
it,
dumb.
do
I
it,
can't even
do
bring
it,
myself to do it.
do
Anyway,
it.
Oscar, like, so basically my point is that the refs are just like handing UM, like everyone's like, oh, UM hasn't been good since like the 80s and the early 2000s. Like, oh, they're finally good again. Let's like promote this team. Shut the heck up, bro. What,
I
like,
think
what?
okay.
Oh my God.
Here,
Go ahead.
if I may, hold on. If I may, because I'm not biased, okay? I'm not like Colin, who literally will
Whoa,
ride it
I'm
down.
not biased either.
Whoa, yes, you are, brother. You don't even start. Don't even start.
I'm just speaking objectively about the penalty.
You're
That
the
was a
biggest
penalty.
Florida State fan I've ever met in my
Of
life, and
course.
Oscar, you go to UM, okay?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this. This is the same situation like you had when it was Rams versus Saints, where it was a pass interference and the refs didn't call it. Now, did some people assume that yeah, it is pass interference? Yeah. But did they do anything about it? No. It was clearly a targeting and they didn't call it, and that's it. Game over. There's nothing else you can do. It happens. Refs either suck, miss calls, or just don't care and they want to get out of
Well,
there.
I
Right?
don't think it's quite like that situation specifically. I think there's other situations you could call back to that are more similar. Unlike that one, but and here's why. I will say, first of all, you have a 25-point lead to Miami, so it's not like it was a one-drive game where this was the deciding factor of the game. You had multiple chances to try to retain your lead, because it's a 25-point lead. Okay, whatever. You don't stop the first drive. You make adjustments. You stop them on the next drive. If you don't stop them on the second drive, that's fine. You still have a over 14-point lead, over a 2-score lead after you don't stop them twice to make adjustments and stop them. And you can be doing stuff not just on defense, but how we've seen with Vanderbilt and how they play the game on offense to try to retain the ball and stop Miami from having the ball on offense, because clearly we know that's Miami's strong suit. So on that point, I don't want to hear the refs gave them the game, because they had to come back from a 25-point lead, period, point blank. They shouldn't have even been in that situation in the first place.
You're right, but they wouldn't
That's
have
the
came back
first
if
thing.
the refs made the call.
Okay, second thing is the refs were horrible the whole night. There was a touchdown play in the first half that was reviewed during halftime for one of Cal's runs where he steps out of bounds, and it shouldn't have been a touchdown. So if we want to call it that way, we can as well. The refs, in my opinion, have just been horrible that whole game. Like, the refs officiating was just bad in general. And you want to say, okay, well, they don't score a touchdown, but then they get the ball, and then they'll score the touchdown later. You don't know that. The same way you don't know with how Colin was saying, okay, they call the targeting, but then they got to get the first down. And although you were saying they were progressing the ball, they really weren't. In that drive specifically, when you look back, the very first 3 downs, they hadn't progressed the ball at all. The only reason they got to progress onto a first down when they started that drive was because of the face mask call when they sacked Mendoza. Because if he hadn't put his arm across the face mask, that drive would have ended earlier than when the targeting call ever even happened. So the defense at that point in the game was already dominating them. So even if they get the targeting call, it's not justification enough for you to say that Miami would have lost that game. So I think, with all things considered, Cal lost the game handedly. It wasn't just on that call. Now, you can make the argument that, yeah, why the hell didn't they call it? And I agree. I think they should have called it. But I don't think that ices the game for Miami, especially with how the defense was performing at that point in time. The way Desmond Bain, you want to look back, go back and look at the tape. Desmond Bain, I mean,
Ruben.
fucking, I'm sorry, sorry YouTube, sorry, but you're right, Ruben Bain. I don't know why I'm having a mental lapse, but the way Ruben Bain was just dominating in the trenches and just not giving the offensive line 2 seconds for Mendoza to think, which is the reason they didn't win that game. Because if Cal can keep the ball for any sustained amount of time running the ball, they would have won the game. Miami wouldn't have had a chance to get the ball to even score in the first place. So realistically, Cal, you put up a really great record, and honestly, it scares me because you kind of give everybody else a blueprint of what to do against Miami. But I mean, the ball was in your hands. You had every chance and opportunity to settle this game away, and you didn't. So you just got to learn how to execute when it matters the most, and they can be a really good football team. But that's just my personal opinion on the game.
Breaking news live from the Get It Right Saturday Night podcast, even though it's not live for you guys. The New York Mets have officially eliminated the Philadelphia Phillies from the MLB postseason. They won Game 4 in New York, and they're moving on to the championship series in the National League. Sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to
I'm going to kill myself.
All
Me
good.
too.
All good. Colin, I thought you had an upset alert. I was like, oh, what's going on here?
No, I know. It's the same sound, but it's still an alert. It's just
bro
an
was
upset.
upset at the fact that
wait, it was an upset alert. There you go.
But yeah,
So,
I think this is an all-time classic of a game. I mean, you can throw this back, grab a few brewskis with the boys, and put this on playback.
always
you can
grab
have a
some
great
brewskis
night,
with
and
the
you can
boys.
and you can have a great night just watching this game start to finish again.
Every night is a good night with some brewskis.
Unless you're a
with
California
the boys.
Bears fan, but if you're a neutral third party, this is a great game to watch.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love enjoying some brewskis with the boys.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that, Mark.
All right, let's move along now to the National Football League. Week 5 of the NFL finished up. And we had some good games. We had some surprising upsets. And we have our records to display. Mark,
Oh, God.
close your eyes. I should close my eyes as well. This was a historically terrible performance out of myself and Mark Francis. Oscar, for some reason, is still continuing to run the table.
What
So,
the hell,
here we are.
brother? 4-10? What the fudge?
Uh,
Oh
So,
my God! My grandmother could make better prediction than this. Oh my God! I'm
Oh
jumping
my
off Brown. Holy shiz! Knights of Columbus. Oh my God! 4-10?
Can you stop screaming, please?
I'm not screaming. I'm emphasizing.
Oh my God. Yeah, so Mark, going 4-10 is impressive on so many levels.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because you try to predict upsets that shouldn't be upsets. Like, I don't know what you're trying to do. You've
Bro,
been doing this for
yeah.
2 weeks now.
It's because I'm great
I mean-
like that.
Oh wow, 4-10 is not great. So anyway,
This calls for a
I
shooter.
think. Oh my God.
What
Yeah.
was that you said about drinking brewskis with the boys?
I might have to drink some brewskis to cope with my failure of last week.
Oh, God.
So
4-10 is an
Oscar,
historic low.
Oscar with a winning record once again at 8-6. I had the opposite, 6-8. But Oscar in the overall records is very, very far ahead of us. So Mark, we need to make up some ground this week.
I gotta lock in.
Yeah, we really have to. We really got to. All right, so let's get into the recap of those games. First off, Thursday Night Football, Buccaneers versus Falcons. We all picked the Buccaneers, and I said, watch out, it's Thursday night, and it's the Falcons, and it's in Atlanta, so
I
they might
also
win.
said I could
and
see the Falcons winning.
You know,
I
you
did
got
say
that
it.
swag.
Turn my swag on.
So it was, yeah, that was bad. I mean, like the Buccaneers, bro, like the Buccaneers should have won though. Like they're
They
way
are a
better. They're
better.
a way better
They're a
team.
better team. They're a better
But
team.
when you got Kirk Chainz on Thursday night dropping 500 yards, like what are you gonna do?
Yeah,
you
no, it
know?
was an insane game of Kirk Cousins. I don't know where he pulled
Yep.
that one out of. But
Yeah, dude, for sure. Jets Vikings in London. Vikings beat the Jets. The Jets look really bad. So what do
think
they do? They fire their head coach, Robert
I think
Saleh.
we all
has
picked
been
the
fired.
Vikings for that game. So
Stupid.
No, Mark
Stupid
picked the
decision.
Jets because Mark Look, Oscar, when you try to guess who Mark picked, just guess that he got it wrong because he was 4 for 10. Like,
yeah, you only got
you
4
got-
right.
Hold on. I think I chose the Bears though.
yeah, you did. Congratulations. That's
Congrats.
4 out of
Wow. You didn't
14
pick-
games.
No, that's not even that. Wow, you didn't choose Carolina. Who would have thought?
Oh, I chose Carolina, so okay, Oscar, relax. But Rob, okay, let's pause real quick. What do you guys feel? How do you guys feel about the Jets firing Robert Saleh?
I'd like to begin on this.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think that is not a good decision on their part. I think that they should have fired Nathaniel Hackett, and from what I heard, Saleh was going to let go of Nathaniel Hackett this week. He is the one. He is the one calling the plays on offense. Okay, I do believe that Nathaniel Hackett is the reason that, or some sort of the reason that the Jets aren't doing well. But also, you cannot take away the fact that Aaron Rodgers has not been doing well. Breece Hall has been absolute dog water, and for one game, finally, they got Garrett Wilson involved, and they still can't do absolute nothing. When you have a player like Sam Darnold only throw for 180 yards and you guys still get beat, that goes into something of how the offense is running and how it works. And I think firing Robert Saleh is a mistake. He is a defensive-minded head coach, and he is part of the Kyle Shanahan coaching tree, and I think that is a very, very bad decision on their part.
Interesting. Yeah, I think I don't think it was the right decision. Was Robert Saleh a good coach? No. I mean, they're 2-3 and they should have a good roster. And in the sense, like, yeah, it's kind of like they have a good defense. That's their strong suit. And then you get rid of your defensive-minded head coach. Like, that's not great. But their appointed interim head coach is their defensive coordinator. So they still have that defensive edge to them. When it comes to Nathaniel Hackett, you can't really, like, yeah, is Nathaniel Hackett good? Clearly not. But with Denver, he was really bad. Now with the Jets, he's been doing bad. But he's only really had 5 games of like playing bad because, like, besides the Broncos, because last year, I mean, his quarterback Zach Wilson, what do you want him to do? I'm sorry. And then before all of this, when he was the OC in Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers, bro, Green Bay was good. Like, no one was talking bad about Nathaniel Hackett back then. So I don't really like. I mean, Nathaniel Hackett's not great, but you can't really trash him that much right now. But having said all that, in my opinion, bottom line, the Jets. This is not going to affect the Jets. They're still gonna be bad. I've said this from the beginning. It's the Jets. No matter what you do, it's the Jets. They haven't won anything since 1969. They're not winning anything now. Like it's
Which
like no matter
leads
who you put on
greatly-
this team is bad.
Thank you so much, Colin, for segueing perfectly into how I feel about this. It doesn't freaking matter, man. It's the Jets. They're such
Thank
a
you.
cursed franchise. I mean, think about it. It makes no.
Yeah, thank
Think
you,
about-
Oscar.
Think about it. It makes no sense. You look at the roster on paper, and you're thinking to yourself, "Wow, this should be one of the best teams in the NFL." I mean, they got freaking Aaron Rodgers, Sauce Gardner, Breece Hall, one of the best talent-wise, one of the best running backs in the entire NFL. But they're doing diddly squat on offense, and their defensive identity, which has been what's been their saving grace for the last 2 years, it's nowhere to be found this year when they're finally healthy. So you're telling me that this Jets team, which realistically everyone before the season started had somewhat of an aspiration to maybe they can make a Super Bowl run, I mean, they got the players. All they need to do is get their schematics right, their coaching right. No, clearly it's none of that, because I think you could bring anybody in there. The whole place needs to be burned to the ground and restarted, because clearly there's just something going wrong in New York. And it baffles me because you have arguably a top 3 quarterback of all time in Aaron Rodgers, who I know is a little bit over the hill, but that man can still throw the ball at a very good rate. But you're squandering your one opportunity. I mean, the fact that you managed to have this roster in the first place and you're doing this with it is a great embarrassment. Because it's not like you have injuries to your roster. And it's not like you're the Dolphins where you have like Jalen Phillips going down, Tua Tagovailoa. You're not throwing the ball for some reason, Mike McDaniel. I mean, we'll get to that, but I mean, they're just an injury-riddled team. The Jets are not an injury-riddled team, and yet they have a losing record through the first 5 games of the season, mind you, to not the best opposition in the entire world. I mean, who have they played throughout the first 5? Is
Titans.
Titans, Minnesota. Could we quickly look at who they've played through the first 5 games? I mean, I think they've played maybe one good team, the Eagles, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now. So they lost to the 49ers. Okay, that's a good team. They beat the Titans. They lost.
And actually, I would go so much as to say they should have beaten the 49ers because 49ers are injured to all.
Well, they weren't injured when they played. Yeah.
Oh, really?
They weren't really injured when they played though. They just didn't have McCaffrey. It was the first game of the season, so they're
never mind. Okay.
Yeah. So they beat the Titans. They should. They beat the Patriots. They should. Then they lost to the Broncos with Bo Nix throwing -7 yards in the first half, and then now they lose to the Vikings. So not great. To put that into perspective, I know it's only 5 games.
It's not great. It's embarrassing. Especially that Broncos game. So
to put that into perspective, the Jets have the same record as the Raiders, the Dolphins, the Giants, the Browns. Oh no, sorry, not the Browns, and the Cardinals. So not great. It's not good. They're not going to do better. Like I think you said that perfectly. And I want to bring up one last point on this that I thought was interesting.
Feel bad for Rich Eisen today. Imagine being a Jets fan.
Yeah. Speaking of Jets fans on TV, Mike Greenberg, if you know him, he's the host of Get Up. He made an interesting point today. I was watching it. He said, when you have a bad game, you can blame the quarterback. When you have a bad season, you can blame the coach. But when you have a bad span of seasons, you got to blame the up top, like GM, owner. Which I thought was interesting, and I thought it was right. And they pulled up a graphic that since
that's
2000,
why I said burn the place to the ground. I mean, you need
exactly.
to really restart.
Yeah, exactly. So it was interesting. They brought up a graphic that said since 2000, this is how bad the Jets are. And the reason they used the year 2000 is because that's when Woody Johnson bought the Jets. So he was basically making the point that, it's not Aaron Rodgers' fault. Saleh was bad, but it's not entirely his fault. It's like no one's looking at Woody Johnson. You got to look from the top. Look, since he's owned the Jets, look how bad they've been doing. My pushback is this. The Jets have not been bad since the year 2000. They've been bad since the year 1970. So that doesn't matter. They've been bad the whole time. So it's not just Woody Johnson. Honestly, I've mentioned this a few times. I'm a believer that there are just some teams that just they're bad because that's the team. The Jets are one of them. The Bills are one of them.
And that's the worst thing you can do as a franchise in general, no matter what sport it is if your identity becomes one of failure, and that's the culture you build and the mythos that you have around your team. I mean, no player is gonna ever want to play for your team. No coach is ever gonna want to coach for your team. Your fans, you're always gonna have diehard fans, but they're just a bunch of hopeful believers. That's all it is at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. And that's exactly why Devontae Adams. Well, you are not a New York Jet. Don't go there, please. Don't go there.
You're gonna be a Baltimore Raven.
I hope so, bro. I have him in fantasy. I need him to pop off. Caleb Williams looked like a number 1 overall pick. Very, very good against the Panthers. Sad to see. I thought Andy Dalton would do a little bit better, but he didn't have a great day. Jaden Daniels making some people overreact to thinking that he's an MVP candidate. He's very good. MVP's a little too far.
Through the first 5 games.
Yeah, but you can't be calling people MVP candidates in 5 games. That's not.
I agree. I agree. Okay. I agree. But
Dolphin,
so far,
go ahead.
But so far, I mean, you can make the case.
So far, very good. Absolutely. But also, I think it's more so on the fact that, wow, the Browns are so bad. I didn't think they were going to be that bad. Geez,
and honestly,
dude.
Because
It's
Deshaun
kind of-
Watson is trash.
Yeah, it's kind of embarrassing is because they paid to be back.
Mhm.
Like, they paid $236 million
Amari
over
Cooper
4 years.
is a good receiver.
to be
Amari
back.
Cooper's a good receiver. He gets the targets. He's getting 12 targets a game, but the throws are so bad that he just can't haul them in. I mean, I was watching these clips. I looked at it. I'm wondering, why is Amari Cooper doing, like, 1 week he's getting 12 targets a game and getting 27 points, and next week he's getting 8 targets a game with 2 receptions and he's getting 7 points. And I mean, I'm looking at these throws. It's like Colin Fursley when we were in recess, just trash.
Wow.
Whoa,
No,
whoa,
I'm just
whoa,
joking.
stop it. Stop it, bro. I cannot let you go there, bro. Get out of here. No. You know I was
you-
throwing dimes then.
You
Come
almost
on,
just
stop
committed
it.
a cardinal sin, there,
Brother,
Mark.
brother.
Bro,
brother.
I was throwing dimes. Just because you couldn't catch them doesn't mean they were good, bad
Bro,
throws.
I was
Stop
nasty, bro. I
playing.
don't know what you're
Well,
talking about, bro.
Mark, word on the street is you have no hands, so I think I'm gonna have to cut.
Facts.
Bro,
True. Thank you,
Word
Oscar.
on the street is I got no
Thank
motion,
you.
yet I still got
Thank
hella
you, Oscar.
beat.
Okay,
I got
stop
hands,
it,
bro. I don't know what you're talking about, bro.
You don't. Dolphins versus the Patriots. We somehow pulled out this win. Don't ask me how. Don't ask me if it would happen again.
I'll
But
tell
we
you
won.
how.
Yusuf-
We played the
Yusuf
worst
was
team in the
watching.
league.
Yusuf was watching and
That's
he
a good
prayed
point.
to Allah.
That's a good point. Allah. Jaguars, they won their first game of the season in a high-scoring affair with the Indianapolis Colts. I'm very sad. Joe Flacco did not pull this one out. He got his team 34 points, but the Jaguars finally won. Shout out to Tank Bigsby. I need you.
I think we
I'm
all
just so
picked the Colts
disappointed.
for this game, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
definitely did.
And I
Especially
think
Mark.
I think if Anthony Richardson would have been healthy for this game, I definitely would have taken him. But we saw a bit of
I
Joe
didn't think
Flacco.
I didn't think the Jags were gonna win, bro. I'm
We
gonna
saw
be
a bit
so
of Joe
honest.
Flacco out there. I
Yeah.
mean, Anthony Richardson through the first 3 weeks was like, wow, like he wasn't like the most insane, but like some of the throws he was making, I was like,
Yeah.
man, I gotta see more of this.
Some
guy.
of the throws were good, but he's very overrated because of those few throws.
I don't think he's overrated. I think he's still young and he needs reps. I mean, think
That's
about he was only in Florida for what, 2 years, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so.
So
Yeah.
he is still super
He's
young
very
for an NFL quarterback. Yeah, and
Wide 80.
if he can start, I mean, he's already developing in the NFL, but if he can get like valuable in-game reps in the NFL, even if they suck for the next 2 years, that experience he's gonna earn is 10 times as valuable as anything he would have done in college. So if I'm the Colts,
That's true.
I don't care about my record for the next few years. Get this man as much playing time as he can, because that man is a stud and an insane natural talent. But I digress.
Mm-hmm.
I don't run a front office, so I mean, I can say as much as I want to, but at the end of the day, I don't
Yeah,
get paid to
that's true.
make those decisions.
Yep. And then 2 games here back to back. We can kind of talk about them together. Bills versus the Texans, and then Ravens versus the Bengals. Just the absolute atrocious coaching that occurred in these games. We'll start here with Buffalo. First of all, Josh Allen 9 for 30, MVP right there. Love to see it. Love to see my boy Josh Allen 9 for 30. Okay.
Yeah. Wow.
Texans
Type
win.
shiz.
Very, very happy. So let's start here. First of all, Nico Collins on IR. Sad for him.
Really
happy
sad
for
to
me
see
though.
it. No,
Happy for
no,
me
Yes!
though.
no.
Tyler
Stephon
Fursley
Diggs.
has been nerfed. They
What do you
nerfed
mean?
Tyler Fursley.
What do you mean?
Whoa,
I'm the
whoa.
one who has him,
Oh shoot! They nerfed
I have-
Oscar Morale.
and I'm going
Oh.
up against Tyler this week.
Oh my God, you're cooked. You're cooked.
Well, I got
se-
Stephon Diggs, so
I sent
I know
my
he's about to go
condolences.
crazy now.
I send my condolences, brother.
Okay, so the main part about this game that everyone's talking about is at the end, the Bills had the ball. It was a tie game, 20-20. Bills had the ball inside their own 5-yard line with about a minute left, and they threw 3 consecutive passes that all fell incomplete, which led to them punting as opposed to trying to run out the ball and play for overtime. Pretty stupid decision in my opinion from Sean McDermott, but it's Sean McDermott
Yeah,
and it's
I don't know
the
why they
Bills.
didn't run the ball, but it is
Absolutely.
what it is.
Yep. And see what I mentioned the other day. This is when the Bills are starting to, they go like this. This is their season.
So according to you, they're gonna lose the next game. They're gonna go 3-3. You think so?
I got to see who they're playing, but I probably am gonna pick against them.
Uh-oh.
Aren't they playing the Jets. Whatever. We'll get there.
We'll see.
And then
We'll see.
Ravens Bengals, same thing. It goes to overtime. I don't understand. So the Ravens fumbled, which was like the Ravens were like, here Bengals, take the win, and then the Bengals were like, nah, you can have it. Like I don't understand what Zach Taylor's thinking. I don't know if you guys were thinking the same thing when I was watching it, but I was watching it live, and what happened was the Bengals had the ball on like their 35-yard line or something. If they were to kick this 50-something yard field goal, they would have won, right? But Joe Burrow threw 5 touchdown passes. We can go to it. He threw 5 touchdown passes. Shout out to
Fantasy
Higgins.
points.
You saved my league my team this season.
I love
this
Joe
league,
Burrow.
Oh my god, this week I can't talk.
Joe Burrow.
So Joe Burrow had 5 touchdown passes. He only threw 9 incompletions, almost 400 yards. So he was going crazy. Instead of trying to like progress down the field to get either an easier field goal or even maybe score a touchdown, they hand the ball off on 3 consecutive plays like they were trying to run the clock. On the Bills side, they should have ran the clock because they didn't want to give the ball back to the Texans, but instead they like threw the ball. On this side, the Bengals acted like they were trying to milk all the clock, and they were just here you go, handoff, instead of throwing the ball with your quarterback who's thrown 5 touchdown passes and only 9 incompletions. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand Zach Taylor, and I don't understand.
I agree.
I don't either.
I mean, as I alluded to earlier, I picked the Cincinnati Bengals to win this game. And gosh darn it, they should have won this game. As Colin just explained, I don't understand how you get paid millions of dollars to make this boneheaded decisions like that at the end of a game. And you can't even blame the players, man. Jamar Chase. Oh my god.
Jamaican Chase.
Joe Burrow. I mean,
Jesus Christ.
The players. The players.
No, Oscar, you're right, bro. You can't get. There's no words to describe it. You can't say the words to describe.
The players executed on every fashion imaginable. Every facet, not fashion. I don't know why I said the word fashion, but they executed on every facet imaginable, and they're let down. Honestly, the players were let down in this game, man.
Yeah.
You see, I don't care if they win or lose. As long as Joe Burrow racks fantasy points, I could care less.
And look, that's why you have a 4-10 prediction rating.
I don't care.
That's a good point.
That's why I'm 5-0 in my fantasy league. I'll take it. But clearly they're 1-4. Clearly playoffs are out of the picture. I don't think they're gonna make the playoffs. Oh my god,
that's not true. That's not true.
Oh
no, stop it, Mark. Stop it.
I think this is the Cincinnati Bengals of old. I love watching the Bengals play. I think they're going to beat the Chiefs this year in the playoffs. I'm calling it right now.
Interesting.
They're not going to make the playoffs.
In what are we, week 6, right?
Yeah, going into week 6.
Going into week 6 of the NFL season. Y'all heard it here first. We will eventually get there, and we'll see if I was right or not. But, yeah, no, I mean, the Bengals had a down year last year, had a bunch of injuries. I think Joe Burrow was the betting favorite for comeback player of the year, slightly edging Aaron Rodgers out at the beginning of the season.
Sorry, that was Gesundheit, brother.
I spammed the mute button and it wouldn't mute. To all the viewers, I'm sorry.
The Bengals are definitely not out of the playoffs. I think that.
And they got a great team, especially if Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase keep playing like this against. Mind you, the Ravens were in the AFC title game last year, and they are better this year than they were last year. And this is the type of performance that the Bengals are putting up. I mean, if the coaching just decides not to take a nap during the last 5 minutes of the game, the Bengals are going to be real dangerous this year.
That is true. Very similar to the Jets. They have good rosters, but they cannot put it together.
They at least have a
well, the Bengals. Yeah, okay. You're right. Yeah, in that sense, yes. Broncos country, let's ride.
Let's ride.
I apologize, Coach K. Bro, Coach K's team lost. The Raiders suck. Coach. They benched Gardner Minshew for Aiden O'Connell, and they still did bad. Major upset in Santa Clara. The Cardinals beat the 49ers.
Did I
Uh,
predict this one? I don't. I'm not sure. I was close to. I think I
no,
mentioned that. I said,
you predicted Giants
yeah,
Seahawks, but
yeah,
that
I
was
know.
not your upset alert, which you
I
should have
know.
done. So I don't know what was going on there, buddy. That's okay, man. But yeah. So Cardinals. So 49ers they blocked a field goal and returned it for a touchdown. The Giants blocked the field goal and then returned it for a touchdown. And then the Broncos had a 100-yard pick six. And then the what was the other team? And then the Seahawks had a 100-yard fumble return for a touchdown.
Yeah,
So 200
crazy.
plus
Yeah.
defensive touchdowns and then two blocked field goal returns for touchdowns, which you never see. So crazy week around the NFL. Packers and the Rams was coming down.
Also the Niners. Just to talk a little about that
Yeah,
Cardinals Niners game.
yeah,
The Niners handed the Cardinals that win at the end of the
yeah,
game. I
Yeah.
absolutely.
mean,
Yeah, for sure.
let's be real. And then the Giants beating the
Sorry.
Seahawks. I mean, the reason I didn't pick that as an upset alert is because I mean, you and me talked about it a bit last week, Colin, or I believe 2 weeks ago. But the Seahawks, even though I think they were undefeated up to that point, right? Um,
Yeah.
they're fraudulent undefeated. They were a fraudulent undefeated team. I didn't
Yeah,
think they
sure.
were anything special. And I think the Giants are
But the
playing
Giants are
really.
bad though.
I know. I'm not saying they're a great team, but they're playing good ball right now, and that's why I picked them to win. And they didn't win like by 1 point like the Cardinals did over the Niners. They
Yeah,
won handedly. So I mean,
sure.
that's why I didn't pick it as an upset alert is because I genuinely thought the Giants were gonna be in control of this game, and that's what ended up happening. So
Yep, that is true. Packers they beat the Rams. What's his name? McVay. No, not McVay. What Lafleur? Lafleur is undefeated against McVay. Matt Lafleur. He's undefeated against McVay. Packers win. Not totally surprising there. Sunday Night Football, Cowboys versus Steelers, a major rivalry. They have like 10 combined Super Bowls between them. I think not, or I don't, 11. I don't even know. 10, whatever.
I think it's 10 because I
And
know the
they
Steelers have
and
5, and how
yeah.
many do the Cowboys have? 4,
No, the Steelers have six, I think.
6. Yes,
At
you're
least
right.
5.
You're right.
And the Cowboys have 4 or 5. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of Super Bowls there. They played in 3 Super Bowls. Steelers won 2 of them. The Cowboys won the most recent one. So, major rivalry. First time in prime time since like 1984 or something like that. And the game spanned 2 days. You know, weather delay made the game end at around 1 a.m. And the Cowboys, crazy game, pretty boring for the most part, as the score suggests. But last play of the game, Dak Prescott on 4th down and goal finds Jalen Tolbert for that game-winning touchdown. And you know, it's a great game when the Cowboys play the Steelers because the last time they played in Pittsburgh was Dak Prescott's rookie year in 2017, and I don't know if you guys remember that game, but it came down to the wire. Cowboys no, the Steelers had a go-ahead touchdown. Ben Roethlisberger fake spike to Antonio Brown, blast from the past, touchdown, and then on the next drive, I believe Ezekiel Elliott scored a game-winning touchdown for the Cowboys. So, you know, great rivalry amongst them. And then Oscar's upset alert.
And I believe I
that
picked the Cowboys to win that
I
game.
believe I think so as well. So yeah, I mean it was you know the Steelers, were they undefeated before that, or I think they had lost one game.
No,
But
they were
you
undefeated.
know they're
I'm
just
pretty
one of
sure.
those teams like I think they had lost to the Colts the week prior.
Really?
But yeah,
All right.
I'm pretty sure. But anyways, you know the Steelers always put up a fight despite how bad their roster looks.
No, yeah, I
So,
mean they always make a way to make games muddy, and that's what this game was. It was just terrible
Absolutely.
to watch.
yeah, that's true. And then Saints versus the Chiefs. Oscar's upset alert fails sadly. So
I
you know,
I honestly, I'm gonna go up to the court and ask for retribution. It will probably fail, but I will say this: Derek Carr got injured very early on in the game, and I
Yeah.
firm-handedly believe that had he not gotten injured, the Steelers would have somehow fumbled their way into a win on this one, and it was
The
looking like it
Saints.
is. I mean, yes, you're right. The Saints would have somehow fumbled their way into a win on this one. And it was looking like it too. I mean, through the first half, it was a 3-point game, if I'm not mistaken, or
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was
It would no. It was.
is a
Yeah.
three
It was
point
a.
game or a 6-point game.
I
I
think it was
mean,
6.
I know it was Kansas City. I think hit 2 field goals back to back to end the half. I don't know if it was to tie and to go ahead by 1 field goal or to go ahead by 2 field goals. But
Well,
um,
sorry, just to interrupt you real quick, in case this goes against what you're saying. Derek Carr got injured very late in the game. I don't know if you just like misspoke or something, but he got injured with 10 minutes left. So the
Yeah.
backup quarterback only played one drive, so it wasn't like it was a big deal
And
in terms of the game.
unfortunately, he's going to be out for extended period of time, is what I heard. And they're going to be starting Spencer Rattler or whatever his name is,
Oh,
the
really?
Mahomes
They
wannabe. Yeah,
are?
yep, yeah,
Wow,
I saw it today. They're starting the Mahomes
interesting.
wannabe. So honestly, we could see crazy, crazy upside coming in from the receivers because they're going to want to throw the dang
Nah, Spencer Rattler
shiz.
is not very good. He's not.
Yeah,
I think this
but
is thankfully. I think this is going to give more upside to Kamara because a rookie quarterback that's not that good is going to rely heavily on a short receiving, like just a receiving back that you can just dump the ball to. I think the running game. Thank God, because Kamara in fantasy. But
thank God I have Kamara in fantasy.
I think it's going to be more so of a running offense because Rattler's not that good and he's a rookie, so they're not going to want to just chuck the ball around the place.
I feel like
no,
they will. I feel
but
like they
yeah,
will.
you're right, Colin. I think I misspoke on that one. He did get injured later in the fourth quarter. But I meant what I wanted to say was this was a winnable game for the Saints. At least I think if they would have stuck to their game
Yeah.
plan,
Yeah, for sure.
they had a really good solid first half at Arrowhead. Um, you know, very volatile and hostile environment to play at, no matter when, even during the regular, especially now during the regular season. After the season, they had the press and media run they went on last year with Taylor Swift and the Travis Kelce story. I mean, everybody seems like they want to go to a Kansas City game now. So,
I
Yeah.
um,
also
Yep, that's
think
true.
it's insane that the Chiefs are 5-0 right now. I think it is
I don't think
insane
it's
because
insane.
I don't
because
think
No.
so.
they've had some crazy close games, almost near
Which
losses,
is
right?
which is why I actually
But
predicted
but
that game
but
to be an
they're
upset alert.
they're
But
they're they're coming out with the W. So
yeah,
whatever they're doing,
but
however they're doing it,
The
Andy Reid's
Saints,
coaching.
the Saints just didn't execute in the second half at all, and they let the game get away from them. And oh well, I mean, it
Sure.
is what it is. You can't get all of them right, like last season, but
Yep.
it is what it. I mean, you roll with the punches, and the Saints. I mean, they can be a pretty good team this year, but they've got to get their stuff together and execute when it matters because
Roll Tide.
you're not. Yeah, I mean, we saw it. We saw it in college football. You're not gonna win. You're not gonna win games in the first half of games. All right, you're not gonna win football games during the first half. You win football games during the second half. So
Yeah. And I want to give one last special shout out to Chris Olave for doing absolutely nothing. I was winning in my fantasy game by 3.5 points, and my opponent had Chris Olave, and I had nothing, and I still managed to win.
I
So
told
shout
you
out Chris
so.
Olave
Didn't I tell
for
you?
doing
Didn't I
nothing.
tell you?
Let's go. We
I
beat
I
Tyler Fursley.
I told
Yes.
you, Colin. Didn't I tell you? I told you. Look, I think
Absolutely.
Olave is gonna go for like 3 points. I'm calling it, bro. He did it once. He's gonna do it again. I
Yep.
called it. I literally called it.
Absolutely. Let's go. All right.
Clip it, chap.
Woo. All right, we have a long episode today, but I know this is the part that you guys are all looking forward to. We have the predictions for
on
Week
to
6 of
everyone's
the
favorite
NFL.
part of the podcast, NFL
Absolutely,
predictions.
absolutely. So let's get it started. Thursday night, 49ers in Seattle. Who do you think is going to win this game?
Classic. Absolute classic. I have the
Yeah.
49ers.
Okay, 49ers for Mark.
This is
Oscar.
this is a very classic rivalry in the NFL over the last decade or so. We've seen some absolutely spectacular games from these teams. And as much as I am slightly inclined to pick the Seahawks, I have to go with the 49ers.
Yeah, I agree exactly with Oscar. I think the Seahawks, much like last Thursday night game, Seahawks at home, divisional rivalry. You know, Seahawks, very like they could win. Like I know I'm gonna come back to this seat next week and be like, see, I told you guys the Seahawks are probably gonna win. I'm still going with the 49ers. I can't bring myself to pick against them. Jaguars versus the Bears in London again. Give me the Jaguars. Like London is their second home stadium.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
they always do pretty well there. So I'm just gonna go with Jacksonville.
And you know what? I'm gonna second that. If the game were in the U.S., I would pick the Bears, but because it's in London, and the Jags just live in London, for some reason, give me the Jaguars, man. Like, let's see it.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's just kind of mid. Um,
Whoa, whoa,
I,
whoa!
I,
The
I
Bears, the
really,
Bears have been playing pretty good football now.
yeah, the Bears have been playing good football, and the Jaguars played relatively well last week. And because of them playing relatively well last week, I think that inclines me to choose the Jags. Just based off of performance last week and Brian Thomas going absolutely insane.
Okay, so you got the Jags. Buccaneers versus Saints, NFC South. Give me the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't like Spencer Rattler, so I'm just gonna go with that.
I agree. I don't. I don't see the Saints doing better, as good as the Buccaneers will. The Buccaneers still have Baker Mayfield, and it's gonna be a fun rivalry between Marshawn Lattimore and Mike Evans. I'm very excited to see that again for like the millionth time. I think the Buccaneers will take this game.
Oscar.
So, I think that the Saints let me down last week, clearly, as we just talked about, and I don't care about them anymore. So give me the Bucks. Come on. I mean, especially after Glenn Powell. Is that it? I don't know if you guys know.
Glenn Powell, the
Wait,
actor.
wait.
Glenn Powell?
Wait. What? Oh.
Anyone but you?
Wait.
Twister?
No. Wait.
Sydney Sweeney's husband?
Oh yeah.
AKA the guy who's taken my girl away from me.
No, not Glenn Powell. Oh, what's his name?
Who are you thinking of?
It's Baker Mayfield's alter ego that they just released.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about, but I don't know. While you search that up, let's move along to the Commanders and the Ravens. Give me Baltimore. If Jaden Daniels can somehow manage to decode the Ravens defense, like I'll give you like whatever you want. Like you want the MVP, here you go. I'll just give it to you. I don't see that happening.
I don't see that happening
Yeah,
either.
the Commanders' first true test. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Mark.
I think this is, as you said, the first true test. I think we're going to see a true, real defensive team with a very high-powered offense, and I don't think the Commanders will keep up with the absolute insanity of the Derrick Henry.
Yep. Oscar,
Gus
you got the Ravens as
Swayze.
well.
Gus Swayze.
Ah.
That was. I don't know why I said Glenn
Yeah,
Powell.
sounds
Sorry about
just
that.
like Glenn
Gus
Powell.
Swayze
I got
sounds
the
just
G
like-
part right. But yeah, give me
Yeah,
Gus.
you want Baltimore?
Give me Gus Swayze to just hand it to the Saints this weekend.
Okay.
Okay.
And then you want Baltimore as well?
Yeah, although I will say I think this is going to be a very, very even-keeled matchup.
Sure.
And I think it's going to be a 4-point game for the Ravens will win by 4. Yeah.
Write it down. Cardinals versus the Packers usually produces some good matchups. I'm gonna go with Jordan Love personally. Got him in fantasy. Shout out Jordan Love. Packers. Let's
Go,
go.
Pack, go, baby.
I think it's going to be a very even-keeled, tight matchup. And you know what? It's not an upset alert, but give me the Cardinals.
Interesting. Interesting.
I like the
All right.
Cardinals this year. They're gonna be my sleeper team this year. I hope they do well. I'm rooting for them.
Nice. All right, we got the Colts versus the Titans. I don't know what to do here, boys.
Oh, I do.
I do. Give me Joe Flacco.
You just stole those words out of me. It's Flacco time, baby.
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean the
Titans are
Titans
coming off a
just-
bye though.
I think the Titans are just pretty bad. Give me the.
Okay. All right. All right, we got Texans versus the Drake May-led New England Patriots.
Drake May's record is about to be 0-1, baby. Give
Yeah,
me the
sadly,
Texans.
it is about to be on one. I'll also go with the Texans.
Yep. Me too. Give me the Texans. Browns Eagles. Two teams not doing so hot.
But unfortunately, one of them is hotter than the other, and one of them is getting A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith back, and the
Yeah.
other one still has Deshaun
That's
Watson
fair.
as their quarterback, who is
Mm.
absolutely garbage. I got the
Yep.
Eagles.
I
Yep,
agree
give me
with
the
you,
Eagles
Mark.
too.
I agree with what you were saying, Mark. But do you hear that off in the past distance?
Oh no. Oh
Do you
no.
hear
It's
that?
coming, boys.
That's right. That's right. This week's Oscars upset alert. Give me the Browns versus
Wow.
the Eagles. And I'll tell
You know
why.
he's right too. I know he's right. If he's wrong,
I'm gonna
I'll be
kill myself.
surprised.
I'm gonna kill myself. I'm already
I
0-1
just
already,
know.
guys. I'm
I
0-1.
just know Deshaun Watson is about to go crazy, bro.
Yeah.
I'm gonna change my prediction.
No, you can't do that though. All right, go ahead.
Rewind.
Oscar. I want to hear this.
So, you guys bring up some fantastic, fabulous points about just how terrible the Browns are. But the Eagles just have this fascinating obsession to losing to terrible teams. Not only that, this is going to be the first game where, as you said, Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown will be back. So they're going to have to build up that chemistry again. I can just see things go bad for the Eagles somehow, and the Browns just having enough of losing and doing everything in their absolute power to somehow manage to scrape by a victory, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Either Deshaun Watson pops off, he rushes for like 80 yards and throws for like another 200.
And Nick Chubb might be back.
We'll see. But and Amari Cooper gets really going. Or
I hope, bro. I have him in fantasy.
Or the Browns just absolutely just take it, like from the Eagles. But for my sake and for the upset alert's sake, I just have a feeling, and that's how I really do. Is just when you get that feeling that you know it's gonna happen, that Oscar's upset alert, you gotta go for it. I was about to pick the Jets versus the Bills, but I was like, no, that'd be a cop out. It's the Browns, man. They're good. They're gonna find a way to win this week.
Interesting take. Chargers versus. Shut that off. We cannot be having this noise more, okay? Chargers versus the Broncos.
May I, please?
Yeah, go ahead. All you. Oh. And ladies and gentlemen, this is why Mark Francis is 4-10. Give me the Chargers.
I'll also.
Go ahead, Oscar.
I'm also gonna go with the Chargers, even though I think there's gonna be a battle of garbage. I think it's gonna be a close game, but
Yeah.
give me the Chargers.
Broncos country, let's freaking ride.
Okay, man. Steelers Ravens, another old rivalry. Steelers at the I think I said Ravens at Raiders. Steelers at the Raiders. Give me Pittsburgh to beat the black and
Raiders,
black and gray. Yeah.
You know what? I could see this game going to the Raiders. I don't know why. But I don't think it will. Because I think they're just that bad of shape right now. So and I have no idea what Mark is doing, but give me the Steelers.
What I'm doing is prepping you guys because Raiders.
Oh man.
Coach K, we're taking the dub this week. We're taking it. I hope. I pray to God.
Buddy
Please.
pick the Broncos and the Raiders.
I don't care. Raiders.
All right.
Let's go, baby.
Falcons at the Panthers. Hmm.
So
Interesting game here.
Carolina has one win, right, thus far in the season, the Adam Thielen
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
Do we see another win here? I personally don't think
I'm
so.
looking at it. I'm
After
looking at
last
it.
week's game from Atlanta, I think they're sneaky. I mean, they're not sneaky good. I mean, Atlanta on paper, they're a good team, man. I just don't think they're gonna have enough firepower to get it done when it counts most at the end of the season or in the playoffs. But give me the Falcons. I think handedly they'll get a solid victory here.
Yeah, I got the Falcons on this, honestly. You got this one.
Um, I'm
You already
I'm
know.
I'm real I'm really rooting for the Panthers. I like Andy Dalton. I like Chubb Hubbard, fantasy reasons. I think
Chuba
the Panthers
Hubbard.
are good. And I don't really have a reason why this is the way it is, but for some reason I don't like the Falcons. Like I don't know why, I just don't like them. So I'm gonna go with the Panthers, just because I just like to pick against the Falcons. Certain teams, I don't like to pick them, but Lions versus the Cowboys. Another team I don't like to pick. I really do not like picking the Lions because they're just one of those teams that I mentioned earlier that just have that reputation for always losing. So, my upset alert for the week is going to be this game. I got the Cowboys. If the Lions win, will I be surprised? Absolutely not. They're a very good team, but I'm just going to go with the Cowboys.
Upset alert of your week. Come on,
Yeah,
Nathan.
I don't
What do you
care,
think you
bro. I
are?
love the Lions. I will
It's the
say
I
it
know you
every
do.
Lions.
week. I love Dan Campbell. I love Amon Ra. I love Jamaica Gibbs. I love David Montgomery. I love them all. I love their jerseys. They're bad flippin' ASS. I got the Lions taking this game. I think we're gonna see a masterclass from CD Lamb though. Um,
I
after
hope so.
his abomination of doing dog shiz last week.
I think the Cowboys are just gonna soil themselves. Give me the Lions. We're gonna see a classic performance. Just barely met. I mean, having a classic game against the Steelers. They're gonna get all the media hype, all the social media hype, and then the Lions are gonna rock their world. Just
All right,
simple as
we'll
that.
see.
Yes, sir. I like that.
Bengals at the Giants. Give me the Bengals. They're just too good to be so bad. So I'm gonna go with the Bengals.
Yeah, give me the Bengals.
I agree. I like the Bengals. I like Joe Burrow. I like Jamaica Chase.
Great. And then Monday Night Football, the Bills versus the Jets. I hate this game because I don't want to pick any of them.
Choose a tie, bro. Take a tie.
Mm, no, give me a second. I have to think about this.
Isn't this the same? Isn't this the game first game of the week of the year last or the first primetime game of the year
Yeah,
last year where Aaron
yeah,
Rodgers and
yep,
is it also playing at is it also at MetLife
yeah,
again
yes,
and
yep.
Monday night again?
He's tearing his Achilles again.
Oh God, yeah, that's a good point.
I think it's gonna be a bit of a
Um,
cursed game. And also the Jets won that game last year even though Aaron Rodgers went down.
yeah, hmm yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go with the Jets because they're on this trajectory. Like I mentioned earlier, give me the Jets. I really don't want them to win. I don't want to. Give me
I
the
think
Jets.
the Bills will bounce back after last week. Come on now.
I agree. I don't think you can count out the Bills. I think the Jets will still take this game, uh, pretty well. But I think the Bills will
Okay,
round
I
it
was about
off
to
at
be
the
like,
end,
did you just contradict himself?
No, give me Jets are gonna win.
bro.
All right. Well, that about does it for the podcast. Very long
Oh yeah,
episode this week, but we hope you guys enjoy. There was a lot to unpack, a lot of interesting things going on. Um,
very
so yeah.
very long episode. I got a
Thank you guys for
crap
watching.
ton of homework to do, right after this because I'm flying out back to Miami tomorrow. But besides that, thank you guys for tuning in to that episode of the Get It Right Saturday Night podcast. We hope you enjoyed this podcast and the vlog that will be coming right before this podcast is posted about our trip in Gainesville. I'd love for you guys to check that out, and we really hope you guys enjoy the content, and make sure you guys take care of yourselves, take care of each other. One love, baby. Peace.